everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Flagler County, your local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on why they like being in Flagler County. So today I'm super excited to have my guest, Ms. Shannel Scorza, with us today. Shannel, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of
I'm
course.
excited.
Oh, I'm so excited for this as well. Chanel and I have known each other just a little while through the local BNI chapter. And she's definitely like I noticed her right away. Amazing spirit. I love when you get up and you talk, especially like I think during like all of the great holiday. Everyone had all these holiday deals that was I feel like that was such a good time for me to join. I learned so much so quickly about people.
Yeah,
Because they
that's the
got
perfect.
they got real creative really quickly. I was like, I think Amanda Redwine, she wore like lights on her once, and I was like, oh my gosh, they go all out here. I love it. Well, I'll let Chanel kind of take it away, but Chanel is the owner of Apex Cleaning, and they do a lot of great things around the community, county, and the local area with helping people out, helping them manage their time, save their time with their services. So I'll let you kind of kick it off. So why don't you tell just a little bit on how you came to Flagler County, Palm Coast, all that great stuff.
Yeah, so we've been in Flagler County for probably, God, like 13 years now. Like we were here when it was still very small, still building. We didn't have our main exit off of 95. Like we've been here for a while.
Wow.
When we first came to Palm Coast, we were young. We were in our early 20s. We were trying to figure out what it is that we wanted to do. And we worked obviously some odds and end jobs, but finally a few years ago we decided that we were going to go out on our own and we wanted to be entrepreneurs and we wanted to be our own bosses, hence why we are at where we're at now. So,
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's so cool. It's so funny how this works. Like, I was telling another person as well, when I first started this podcast, I was mostly talking to like new people, like maybe 2 to 3 years into Flagler County. And for the past week, I've pretty much only had people who have been here for over 10 years. But
yeah.
I absolutely love hearing your guys' point of view of like, how have you seen the community change? What have you noticed? What have you liked
Oh,
about it, about that?
so when we first moved here, we thought we moved pretty much from Ormond Beach up to Palm Coast, and we liked how it was still kind of like, I don't want to say rural, but there wasn't as many homes. So
Right.
obviously, especially in the last 5 years, we've seen the community build up quite a bit. So when we first moved here, it was a plus that it was very quiet. And Palm Coast is still a little hidden gem. It's close to the ocean, but it's definitely built up a lot more. Like our Matanzas exit was not there when we moved here. So
Really?
crazy to see how much it's grown. Yeah.
That's insane. But I'm sure, especially because you guys. So when did you guys go off on your own?
We started one of the first company that we have, Apex Painting. We started that about 5 years ago now. So that's
Wow.
a little bit older than the cleaning company.
Yeah, but you guys were like right here at the start of the boom then,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
company. So I'm sure that was really like you kind of, I don't know, the company was able to grow with the growth of the community.
Yeah, yeah. And we before we had started our businesses, we both worked in the public. So when we first started, we knew a lot of people in the public.
Oh,
So that
perfect.
was kind of an advantage for us because we were able to kind of put the word out there and a lot of people just spread it. And that helped us out a lot because
Yeah.
it's word of mouth. I mean, yeah, people look at Facebook recommendations, but really, if their neighbor says, hey, I use this person, they're great, or this is a good friend of mine, I trust them, whatever, then they're more likely or more inclined to use that company versus somebody that was tagged in a post. So
Yeah.
that's been a huge advantage for us.
Yeah, I think there's so much new, like obviously podcasting is new, right? Social media is new, all of these new things. There's so many new marketing strategies, but I think relying on people and word of mouth and just talking to your community, that will always be the best way to spread that business. And I've always been a big believer of that because like that's really what I do is the podcast is to connect with the other people that I interview. It's not I post random ads. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's what I prefer to build my business off of is just that real connection I can build with someone. It's completely priceless. So, just quick question. I was just kind of curious about this. Where did the name Apex come from?
So apex means peak. So that's kind of what we wanted to go off of, like our
Gotcha.
slogan being like apex cleaning, the peak of cleaning perfection. And we kind of moved that over to the painting company too. So apex painting, the peak of painting perfection. We just wanted it to be, the top, the best. And I mean, being my husband and I being, I think we were just under 30. So we had started two successful companies under the age of 30. So that was like a huge thing for us too.
So
So
cool.
yeah.
So how did Apex Cleaning start? Because you guys had the painting company first and then it went into the cleaning company. How
Yeah.
was that?
So it kind of went hand in hand. So we had a lot of people coming from out of state because we have a lot of
Mm,
realtor friends. So a lot of people were moving down. They wanted the house completely painted before they moved in. But then a lot of the times they also wanted it cleaned. And when I moved here, or when they moved here, they couldn't find any cleaning companies that would either like return their phone calls or, keep a scheduled appointment. So that started to frustrate me because we were also, the person that they hired for painting. So I was like, you
yeah.
know what? I can do this. I'm kind of a clean freak anyway. So let's just try it. So we did. And I did it for a couple of our friends, and they said, "Oh my gosh, Chanel, you need to do this professionally. Like, this is better than anybody we've ever seen in this area." So I was like, "No, stop it. I'm not going to do that." And then we did it, and it just like took off. And I mean, I get people that call me all the time, and I obviously answer, and they're like, "We hired you not only because you came highly recommended, but you answered your phone. You said you were going to be here at 9 o'clock for an estimate, and you were here." So that's half the battle right there. Just answer your phone,
Right.
keep an appointment. That's all you need to do. Be nice to people. Like, how are you going to run a business and be successful at what you want to do if you don't answer your phone, you don't show up to appointments, and you're not kind? Like,
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
expect to have a successful business without those three things. So
Yeah.
once you have that, then you're good.
Yeah, I know, like, for people who might maybe be getting into business or they have it and they think, "Oh, it's so intimidating, there's so much work," but it's
Yeah.
it's really those basic things that we should do anyway as humans, like, if you
Yeah.
schedule a time with your friends to, like, go out and then, you don't show up, your friends are gonna be like, "What is wrong with like, why is she not here? Why is she not answering her phone?" Because that's something that we encountered too when moving to Palm Coast is we were calling around for services, we didn't know anyone in Palm Coast, we didn't know, like, we were just moving, we were looking for things, and, like, a lot of people were not answering their phones, and we were like, "We want to give you money. We're not
Yeah. We're
where's the
trying to give
disconnect
you
here?"
money. Like,
Right. Like, we're not, like, cold calling you to sell you. We need to, like, buy a house so we can live
yeah.
here. It's like small things like those. Like you said, that's half the battle, really. People don't
Yeah.
understand, like, people just want a really good connection with, who they're hiring. They want a good relationship, someone professional, and someone they can get along with, I feel, which definitely I'm sure you hit all the boxes, so that's
Try
perfect for
to.
your guys' company. Um, how is the transition for you guys, really quick, from going from, being employees to being your own boss? Was there any, like, thing that you encountered, you're like, "Oh my
Oh my
gosh, I did not realize I had to do this. I had to learn this."
You know what though? I was terrified because I worked a corporate job for like 10
Mhm.
years. Like
Mm.
I worked for Publix. Like that's a huge company, you know what I mean? So working for them for a very long time, I was terrified to go out on my own. Like my husband told me about it and he's like, "We should do this, let's be our own entrepreneurs." I was like, "Nope. I want that steady paycheck every week." But
Right.
when I like left and when we both left our jobs, God, that was like the best decision we've ever made. And we also like did a lot of research before we did that. So like that's one of the big
Mm,
things too is be mentally prepared, if you're going to make a huge step for your career and for your life, make sure you know what you're getting into. So, like, we did a lot of research, what we needed to do to be our own bosses, registered agents, all taxes, all this stuff that we needed to make sure that we crossed our T's and dotted our I's on
right.
whether or not we were going to do this. And if we were, that we were going to do it properly and we were going to do it legally and we were going to do all the right things that we needed to do to make sure that we were successful. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so funny even I was
You did.
literally yeah, no, because I was just thinking about this last night, which is the craziest thing. Because I was, like, reflecting at different times in my life where I was prepared for something versus I wasn't. How was
Yeah,
it different? How was I preparing for that? Like, I thought I was prepared, right? But then I wasn't. It's like, why did I feel that and why wasn't I?
yeah,
Versus, like, now when I feel a little bit more prepared, but I think I'm also understanding that you can't be 100% prepared, so you
of
have to
course.
be for about lack of a better term, you have to be prepared to be unprepared, which is the
Yeah.
most
I
like
mean, obviously, you're not gonna obviously know
right.
everything about
Mhm.
everything. You're just not. So
Mhm.
there's gonna be times where you're like, I don't remember reading anything on this. And you
Yeah.
and but that's also where your group comes in, your circle. I mean, there's so many
Mm.
people that my husband and I both call. Like John Gilvary is another painting company, and my husband's very close to him. So like we can call him and say, "Hey, what do we do?" Or
Yeah.
Dan Brown. There's so many people that are in our circle that whenever there's an issue, we can call them and be like, "Hey, I need help. I don't know what to do. This just happened." And that's great to have too. I mean, because if I was just here running this business by myself or we were just by ourselves and we didn't have these people that have been in business for 10, 20 years, who would we call at that point? Would we just keep going like the snowball effect until obviously something happens and we're like,
Right.
so
Yeah, like everything should be a learning experience, but obviously if you want to mitigate the risk, you don't need to go off the deep end if you don't need to.
exactly.
Which I think is also a perfect segue into my next question. What would you recommend for new people in the Flagler area, or maybe it's just been a while for them, maybe places they can go, events, groups,
So
anywhere they can kind of get out into the community?
I would say to get involved in your community. So Palm Coast has so many events. I mean, they have flea markets on Sundays, they have music in the park the first Friday of the month.
Okay.
There's so many things that people can go and do and meet people. I mean, even networking groups. I mean, I can count how many networking groups are in Flagler County. I mean, there's so many people that you can connect with. And I would just say get out there, man. Like
Mm,
go out, go to a BNI meeting, go to a Women's of Flagler County meeting, go to the Bold Lady meeting. Like there's so many
right.
different things that so many different places that you can go to meet people and kind of just put yourself out there. I mean, in a way, it's kind of like dating, when you got to go out and you got to meet people.
Right.
You gotta, you just got to talk to people. So,
Yeah.
I would really just say get involved in your community.
Yeah. I
Look
think
at the
that's
events and go.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I mean, no one can know who you are if they don't know you exist.
Exactly.
So just getting out there, showing your face, and
Mhm.
then even if you don't really want to talk to someone that first event, people are gonna recognize your face when you keep on showing up into different
Absolutely.
places. And
100%.
there's so much overlap in these groups, but also there's a lot of different people. So you're gonna see some new people, some old people, and it's gonna be really great. A lot of them are so welcoming. And
Yeah.
they wanna greet the first person they see, they wanna invite the new person in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Chanel, thank you so much for the time today.
You're
I
so
really
welcome.
appreciate it. This was a total blast. I really loved learning more, and then I'm really glad that we had this time, so thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of
It was fun.
course. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you to everyone listening as well, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.